Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to have a 3v3 on Rzhev Winter. Our heroes today are going to be StC-pgmoney, and he is going to be playing, well, Soviets, alongside his compatriots, his allies, and that is going to be DRPMSTRS, or DRPMSTRS, again, playing for the Soviets. And we also have valkyriesII as the yellow player for the Soviets. His enemies, the Germans, obviously, are going to be maxxhp, so very healthy units for the red player. He is going to be accompanied by the pink player, Mr. Funky Ducky. And last we have the orange player being Rounce, who likes to pounce. I don't know. Rounds. So anyways, I've been tinkering with the overlay a little bit, and again, I cannot show, the units for each player, and I'm gonna be keeping the, the overlay off as we do for things other than 1v1s, like so. But what we are gonna do is we are gonna take away this little logo here since we don't need it, and we're gonna do this. Is that okay, guys? I hope it's okay. So yeah, I mean, I think this would help out, just to see what's going on a little bit easier. So let me know what you guys think. Anyways, thankfully we can still access this and, the mini-map's over here, but, doesn't affect the main map. So we see the first engagement over on the left-hand side. We have Pioneers and conscripts engaging over on the victory point on the left. The Pioneers are going to have to run away. They're probably going to run into one of the houses, but there is a combat engineer there waiting for them. They are going to jump into the house, denying it for the Pioneers, so the Pioneers are apparently going to run into this shack. No, it looks like they're just going to... No, yeah, they are going to run into the shack. We have an MG42 set up on the ice, shooting at those conscripts. The conscripts do end up getting pinned down. Second conscript squad following up, and this is by StC-pgmoney. Let's just call him PG Money now. And he is going to be engaging those Pioneers. The conscripts, though, do end up retreating at 4 men. The MG42 is set up in a decent angle, going to be able to catch this other conscript squad out in the ice. 3 men actually make it out of the arc of fire, but they end up getting pinned down by the ones that were lagging behind them. Second MG42 set up for the Germans. This is Funky Ducky's MG42. Opening up on those conscripts on the ice. The conscripts do end up getting pinned down and will be forced off. They do manage to throw a Molotov on that MG42. They're going to do a lot of damage to it. Actually, no, not a lot. Well, yeah, one guy catches fire. And there they go. They aren't actually going to retreat. They're just simply going to move out of the fire and reposition. Left-hand side, we still hear MG42s opening up on everything. So quite a bit of an MG42 spam by the German players. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 MG42s on the field with a 5th one coming up for Funky Ducky, plus some grenadiers there just to, bolster their forces. Conscripts still running down that road, coming right on top of that MG42. They're probably going to throw a Molotov on top of it. There it goes, MG42 forced off of the field. Grenadiers, though, are going to be able to engage that conscript squad on a 2-on-1, very favorable to the Grenadiers. One Grenadier squad down to 2 men. They do end up retreating, but the conscripts are very low in health, down to 2 men, getting harassed by that MG42, and they are forced to retreat through the ice, and there you go, back home. Combat engineers in the house do end up having to evacuate and retreat in the face of all this overwhelming numbers of infantry for maxxhp. Right hand side over on the north, we see an engagement by some Grenadiers, Pioneers, and a combat engineer squad that is currently down to 2 men. Was trying to decap this victory point, but the Grenadiers do move into the zone to prevent them, and they're going to have to retreat down to 1 man. They are going to take a lot of damage. They're going to run through the Pioneers. The Pioneers will be shooting them, and down goes an entire combat engineer squad for PG Money. MG42 over here on the north is set up to cover the entire approach, even to the edge of the map, so these conscripts are going to be in a lot of trouble. They are 3 of them, so they could split up and get a decent angle on that MG42. But with the second MG42 coming up to protect it, even with the Molotov that's probably going to land on top of it, it looks like the conscripts are going to be in a little bit of a tough spot. Grenadier squad on the left-hand side is supporting the MG42s. And look at that damage go down. 3 men down to 2 men on this other squad. Molotov does land on top of one MG42, clearing it out completely. The second Molotov lands on the MG42, down to 3 men. Is it actually going to die or stay alive? Down to 2. They are all burning, trying to man that MG42. Down to 1 man and down. So very nice Molotovs there for valkyriesII, but unfortunately There are grenadiers in the area, which are actually going to set up a bunker. Will probably be an MG bunker. Quite annoying for the Soviet forces. MG42 down a little bit to the south of this position is catching the conscripts for PGMoney out in the open, down to 4 men. Second conscript squad following up. It's just going to stay at range and notices that it can't really do much. There is a mine laid down here, but I don't know by whom. Probably a Soviet mine, I would assume. Center of the map is a cluster of units. We have 2 MGs, grenadiers, even a mortar opening up a conscript. The conscripts for DRPMSTRS are probably going to die. They are pinned down at 2 men in the middle of the ice, down to 1 man. He's not retreating, and down goes one entire conscript squad. Second conscript squad does manage to throw a Molotov on top of one of the MG42s, but gets executed on the retreat by the grenadiers. Mortar taking some shots at those conscripts, it looks like, but it only ends up shooting its own infantry.
That's the last one.
Conscript squad sneaking behind enemy lines through the ice, manages to decap this point, cutting up north to the Germans, but the Germans do have a strong defensible position for the north. We have a medic bunker, if I'm not mistaken. Is it a medic bunker, or what type of bunker is this? I don't know. Anyways, scout car for the Soviet forces going straight onto the MG42. It does take a Faust to the face. A lot of damage going down, and down goes the entire half-track. The flamethrowers on the engineers are still equipped. They are trying to run around, but it looks like they are going to get executed. He is slowly walking through the ice. He decides to just stop and throw a burst of the flamethrower, but gets executed on the retreat. Luckily, though, the flamethrower itself ignites right on top of all the German infantry, and look at that carnage. A lot of infantry actually got killed off there. But with the bunker there to reinforce them, these infantry forces are going to be able to just simply hold this line and not budge an inch. They are still cut off, but we do see that Funky Ducky is currently working on reconnecting in the north for the German forces. Victory point wise, we have a triple cap for the Germans currently going on, which is going to be quite painful for the Soviet forces. They are currently down to about, what's it say, 340 points roughly, while the Germans sitting comfortably at 490. Engagement at this point, Flame half-track taking an 18-8 to the face. It's going to get reinforced, or repaired that is, by these pioneers quite easily, while the flamethrowers just go to town on that conscript squad, down to 3 men. Molotov round right on top of them. Nice Molotov on top of the grenadiers. The grenadiers are not actually shifting position, and they do end up retreating. Not entirely sure why they retreated. They could have just simply shifted position and gotten near the, the half-track. But anyways, we do have a conscript over in this house trying to hold the line. There's an MG42 shooting at them, which has been shooting probably for a long while now. Down to 4 men on that house, but that house provides a lot of protection. Up north, we see a grenadier squad retreating. It did manage to decap this point, cutting off the left-hand side, which doesn't really benefit or affect the Soviet forces that much because they only have this single point connected to the left-hand side. Munitions in the center do get captured by PGMoney, gaining a little bit more income for the Soviet forces. And on the right-hand side, we see conscripts by valkyriesII, just pushing forward onto the lines of the Germans, but they are taking quite a beating to those MG42s plus grenadiers. This superior defensible position is going to be quite tough to break simply with infantry. He needs at least some type of mortars or indirect fire. Conscript squad at 2 men does end up retreating through the ice. Going to take some damage, but it looks like it's going to make it out alive. Conscript squad down south did toss a Molotov onto the MG42 and ends up clearing it off completely. Second conscript squad just Uras right on top of the Molotov and ends up burning one of its own men. Second Molotov goes off from that conscript squad trying to catch those grenadiers, but the grenadiers just simply shift position and with the support of a flamethrower half-wreck are forced off of the field. Conscript squad by PGMoney does come up to support, throws an 18-8 on the half-track, damaging its engine, but it is also forced off of the field. Now we do see some mortar shots landing with a lot of impact and force behind them, and that is a 120mm mortar for DRPMSTRS, and that is actually going to help out a lot. 120mm mortars have a lot of range compared to standard mortars, and they do way more damage. So yeah, that's actually going to help them out, help them break this position if they, possibly can. Left-hand side, we see a shock troop coming up to support those conscripts in the house. The conscripts are now down to 3 men, still holding in that house against that MG42. Some Molotovs, not Molotovs, mortars over here would also be great. And it looks like that is exactly what DRPMSTRS is trying to do. He is sending a mortar to the left-hand side while still keeping that other mortar on the right, supporting his allies. And we see a combined effort by ValkyriesII and PGMoney trying to break the Germans' hold on the right-hand side. AT gun by PGMoney on the road, trying to take some shots at the bunker directly. The MG42 does set up a little bit forward up front with grenadiers there, trying to take down that AT gun. The AT gun is now down to 3 men. Mortars also get taken out. Not exactly sure why they were still up front. And the AT gun gets cleared out. So unfortunately, because of the bunker, these grenadiers can just simply take these guns for themselves and will further reinforce this position. So an okay idea, but a bad execution there. Needed to at least follow up with some infantry for defense to be able to fend off those German forces. Small engagement a little bit south from this position. We have conscripts flanking around, trying to get, I don't know exactly where they're going. They're Uraing away. Other conscript squad did get a little bit of a pin down by the MG42, it looks like. Down to 2 men on the retreat. They are going to run through the arc of fire of that MG42, taking a lot of damage with that flamethrower also bursting on them. But luckily for that conscript squad, the German forces decide to shift their positions back a little bit and back to the bunker, so they will be able to stay alive. In this situation, I would suggest for Orange, which is Rounce, to get himself a Pioneer over here and just spare that bunker, you know, just keep that position reinforced as much as he can. He does have a Pioneer back at base, but he doesn't seem to be trying to reinforce it. PPSH is equipped on the conscripts for PGMoney, trying to push forward, but again, with the sheer amount of MG42s, that is 3 MG42s in this position, he's not really able to gain any ground, so that is quite unfortunate for him. Left-hand side, still really no engagements going on. We do have a LMG picked up by these shock troops. Very nice. Mortar taking some shots at the shock troops. Mortar is somewhere around here. I'll find you. Where are you? Actually, I don't even know where it is. Black Panther on the field for max HP. That is going to do quite a number on these shock troops, if not actually outright kill them. They are retreating down to 1 man, and down they go. So quite unfortunate loss there for the Derp Master, but yeah, that Flak Panther is quite good at that. Flak Panther, however, is taking some shots by that AT gun. It does manage to get out of its range. The AT gun is going to turn. Can it actually land the last shot? No, it sets up in a horrible angle and is going to try to run away, but is going to only get itself taken out. Does anything follow up for support? No. It's probably going to clear those out. We do see a conscript down across the enemy lines by PGMoney, retreating at 2 men, making it out alive. We have the position defended by Funky Ducky, so he's quite fine there. AT gun does manage to actually set up and take a last shot to that Flak Panzer. Flak Panzer didn't manage to properly flank this this AT gun, which it could have done easily, but maybe something just distracted him. Soviet forces trying to push a little bit again to the northern side. Going to recapture some territories. We see mortar rounds landing all over the place. There is a German mortar also here. Plus the AT gun here that can throw some barrages. It is going to be quite annoying, especially in those houses. It could move up and barrage the house, bring them out of there. Conscripts do jump out of the house. These conscripts are now Vet 2, so they will be able to take a little bit of a beating. But with 2 MG42s right there setting up to face them, down goes the suppression. Look at that damage go down. Even with that Vet 2, they really can't do much about it, and they are going to end up getting cleared out. They do hit retreat, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it out alive. Wow, it actually does make it out alive. Very lucky. Even a AT gun shot, can he make it out alive? AT gun is going to shoot once again? No. There it goes. Makes it out alive. Very lucky squad right there. By all rights, it should have been dead. And the bunker does get finally cleared out by the 120mm mortars. And this is going to allow the Soviet forces to push onto the north and get a little bit of an advantage, or well, a little bit of a ground gained. We do see though that they have been triple capped up until this point, and they are now less than 50 points while the Germans still have 490. This is quite a desperate situation. They need to push with everything they have. 120mm mortar getting shot by both MG42s. They are going to get cleared out even if they try to retreat, which they're not even trying to do. Grenadiers pushing forward, going for the other 120mm mortar. There's 2 still 120mm mortars on this side. They have been very useful for the Soviet forces, and combat engineers are not supporting anything. Left-hand side, we see a shock troop trying to push to gain some position. We are down to 32 points for the Soviet forces. Can they make it? Can they break it out? They have actually captured the victory point in the center, so they're going to slow down that capping to 1 point per tick, so they have a little bit of time, but they need to get 1 more point at least. Otherwise, this is going to be it. Conscripts capturing his territory. We see a massive retreat by the forces of Rounce from the north. So it looks like the Soviet forces have managed to break through. T-70 coming onto the field. That is going to be able to deal with that half-track quite nicely. There we go. It is Vet 2 on the half-track, so the half-track is going to take a lot of shots by that T-70. But if he can kill it off, that is one less thing to worry about. It looks like he's actually focusing on the MG42 instead. MG42 down to 2 men. And it's actually going to get cleared out quite easily by that half-track. Down to 1. Can he finish it off before it gets killed? It does finish off that MG42. Stolen AT gun did take a nasty shot to the T-70 on the rear armor, but the T-70 is going to still be alive. It looks like it's going to chase something. It's going to chase a half-track. Conscripts are also on the field trying to get some kills, but it doesn't look like they are going to find anything. They're going for the MG42. Another half-track hitting the field on the north for Rounce. I'm not exactly sure why he's doing this, and we're trying to do that. Half-track is going to be taken out by that T-70 quite handily, and there is nothing apparently coming up for support. Flamethrower is just opening up on the T-70, not really going to do much. T-70 almost takes out that half-track, but with the AT gun coming up behind it, it does take a nasty shot of getting its engine destroyed. The AT gun does get finally cleared out, apparently. Where is it? Here? Yeah, here it is. AT gun does get cleared out by the conscripts, and we now see massive forces of infantry for the Soviets on the north. They are down to 8 points. 8 victory points. They did manage to decap this point on the left-hand side with the shock troops, and they're going to hold on for dear life. Wow. Very close game here. Well, not close game. Very close for the Soviets. They were almost out of the game. We do see an Su-76 on the field for DRPMSTRS. He's taking it over to the left-hand side, so that's going to give him a very nice defensive boost to those with those shock troops as well. We see the north is now swarmed by Soviet forces. We see stolen MG42s in the zone. We also see a mortar getting cleared out. Could also get picked up by the Soviet forces. More MG42s on the ground. Yeah, it was the mortar that was over here. The AT gun did also get recruited, looks like. Somewhere around here. There it is, setting up on this road. So the Soviet forces have managed to break through on the north, and they will be able to defend that position, apparently. There is no armor for the German forces, apparently. The Flak Panzer was the only thing that hit the field a little while ago, but it did get cleared out by an AT gun. So not exactly sure what they're trying to wait for. We are currently triple capped against the Germans, so that is going to be quite nice. Artillery barrage going almost point-blank range into that house, not actually managing to hit the Panzer Grenadiers inside, unfortunately. There we go. One nice shot goes in and clears out our guy. Down to 1 man. And the Panzer Grenadiers are going to take a shot at that Su-76 and retreat, but the shock troops are going to be able to kill it off. And the shock troops now have themselves a Panzerschreck. Very nice. AT gun also in the zone, going to help out against these, well, nothing actually. The Panzer Grenadiers taking a nasty shot there by that Shrek on the shock troops. And the Su-76 proving to be quite effective with its main gun, finishes off the shock troops. So we now see that DRPMSTRS actually has a very, very strong hold on the left-hand side. They did actually capture this point, slowing down the ticking, but they still have 400 points. The German forces could, you know, refocus and start getting their momentum back in their favor. We see Panzer Grenadiers going into the center, trying to recapture that point, but with the shock troops capturing the left-hand side, they are not going to be able to take more points down. We see a massive retreat of forces by Funky Ducky and Rounce on the north. So it looks like they made an attempt of a push, but with the stolen MG42s, tanks, and everything, it looks like they were not able to break through. Left-hand side, we have maxxhp trying to go for the victory point. We have a Panzer IV on the field. The Panzer IV is behind that AT gun. We do have 2 Su-76. The Su-76 are trying to fight against a Panzer Grenadier squad, but the Panzer Grenadiers do have, oh, very nice. I'm not sure if that was a bomb or a railway by the, but the Su-76 managed to dodge that quite nicely. Panzer Panzer IV is going to be able to take out both SU-76 without really much any issue. SU-76 does turn around and try to take a shot at the Panzer IV. Doesn't penetrate the armor. We have conscripts pushing up. Probably going to throw an 18-8 on the Panzer IV. Yeah, there it goes. Nice 18-8. Actually crits on the engine, but the SU-76 is going to get cleared out. So the left-hand side is now fallen to the German forces. We currently don't have them capturing that point, so the points themselves are still at 8, and we have a conscript squad in the center victory point trying to take it, which will allow them to stop that lead. Panzer Grenadiers trying to capture that point. Conscript do decap that point, so again, point still in the favor for the Germans, obviously, but the ticking is currently going on for against the Germans. T-34 went a little bit forward into the enemy territory and apparently got cleared out by either the Panzer Shreks or a Panzer IV. Panzer IV pushing over to the north side. We have a conscript squad retreating instantly at the side of that Panzer IV. They were at 3 men, so not a bad choice there. Guards Rifle pushing forward with their DPRS rifles and, PDRS rifles, and an AT gun there for support. AT gun, though, is very, very low in health, so it could get cleared out quite easily. Again, on the left-hand side, we have an engagement. The Panzer IV is getting harassed by the conscripts. The conscripts do throw another 18-8 at it and end up retreating. Center point, we have a major engagement. Wow, very nice artillery there. Actually sinks the Panzer IV. The half-track manages to get out of it without really much damage. T-34 for the Soviet forces, and this is for PG Money, taking some shots at that half-track. That half-track is still vet 2, so it's being quite annoying, taking a lot of shots to bring down. Quite ridiculous. And look at the ice. The ice has been broken in so many places that this place is so treacherous to move up against. The half-track is trying to move out of the way, but the T-34 manages to finally take it down. And actually the Grenadiers go down with it. So again, the victory points are left neutral. They don't manage to cap that. And we have Grenadiers pushing forward against the D-34. They do manage to throw a Faust on it, damaging the engine and bringing the hull very low. So any follow-up by some type of armor could kill it off. We see on the right-hand side, MG42 and Grenadiers forcing away the Garsh Rifle and the AT gun. The AT gun is going to apparently just cross the river through the ice. But we still have a very defensible position by the Soviets up north. They even have a T-70 there for support and a half-track. Panther hitting the field for the German forces is going to go straight for that T-34. That T-34 is essentially phoned. It is taking a shot, but it actually misses. The T-34 retorts with its own shot, but it doesn't really do much to the frontal armor of the Panzer IV, and the Panzer IV is executed. Center point getting captured by the Soviet forces. They are again going to start to bleed on the German forces. They are now down to 393 apparently, and still a long ways to go. Right-hand side completely defended, or not completely defended, but currently defended by a Panzer IV, and nobody's over there. We do see a Panzer Grenadier squad up north, currently trying to retreat through some conscripts. The conscripts apparently are moving and do not shoot at the Panzer Grenadier. The Panzer Grenadier does have a Panzer Shrek, and it ends up dropping it. These conscripts could actually benefit from it very nicely. Even these ones would actually do fine. Su-85 on the field, taking some shots at the Panther. It looks like this this T-34 tried to ram the Panther, but ended up not getting the crit against its frontal armor. The Su-85 is pushing forward. They have conscripts now with an AT gun. The conscripts will also be throwing an 18-8 on top of it. Both 18-8s are probably going to go down. We see a call-in right on top of the conscript. The conscripts are not moving. They need to move out of the way. And nice bombing run, and look at that damage. Actually make it out alive with one of those engineers. Very lucky, and only one conscript ended up dying to that. Su-85 plus the combined 18-8s and the Panzer Shrek ends up taking out that, with a pack gun stolen from behind. Very nice there by PG Money. Ends up taking down that Panther. Panzer IV moving into the zone trying to support the Panther, but it's now only being met by the pack gun plus the Panzer Shreks on these conscripts, and down goes the Panzer IV. Right-hand side, massive retreat up again by the forces of Rounce. We have Grenadiers and Panzer Grenadiers getting harassed by a T-34. T-34 pushing forward, not managing to do much against the infantry. It's not that great against infantry, but it does the job fairly decently, I suppose. Panzer IV, though, taking shots at the T-34. T-34 manages to dodge that shot. Conscripts pushing forward, probably going to throw an 18-8 at that Panzer IV. There goes the 18-8, getting a crit on the engine. The follow-up is well, probably would have been Guards Rifles, but the Guards Rifles are not pushing forward. T-34 taking some nasty shots by that Panzer IV. The conscripts are still there and still trying to help out. PTRS rifles now shooting automatically at that Panzer IV, but the Panzer IV will be able to take down that T-34, especially since it's exposing its rear armor. PTRS rifles opening up on the Panzer IV. The Panzer IV is taking a lot of damage to that sustained fire. Another 18-8 goes down by the conscripts, and the conscripts do get fed 3. They do get forced off of the field, and the PTRS rifles are almost bringing down that Panzer IV. The Guards Rifle are pushing forward, and it might be able to take it out. Left-hand side, we see that conscripts are currently capturing that territory. Center point, we have an MG42 that got stolen, opening up on Grenadiers. Grenadiers getting killed off. Nice artillery being called in by the German forces, or tossed in by on-map artillery, but the Su-85 is only at about half health. Over on the right-hand side, we do see that the Panzer IV... Did it make it out alive? Yeah, it made it out alive. Another Panzer IV pushing forward right on top of those guards. I mean, that's actually a Panther, sorry. So the Panther isn't that great against infantry. There is an AT gun across the river taking some shots at the Panther, but there is a Grenadier squad coming up to try to clear it out. Guards Rifle are moving to intercept that Grenadier squad. They probably can throw a nade on top of them. They are gonna, no, yes, no, maybe. It looked like they wanted to throw a nade, but no, they didn't actually throw a nade. AT gun getting, yeah, there goes the nade, very nice. Down to one man on the Grenadier squad. Can they actually finish it off? Looks like they might. No. No, they don't. No, well. More Gren squads coming on top of those Guards Rifle. The Guards Rifle are going to have to retreat. The AT gun does make it across the snow, and a PTRS rifle unfortunately gets dropped by those Guards Rifle. Left-hand side pretty much secured by the Soviet forces. We see a massive push. We have Su-85s, shock troops with Panzer Shreks, conscripts, 18-8s, and a lot of AT guns over on the left-hand side that are currently decrewed. Could benefit from getting recrewed. Maybe even send a half-track over on the left-hand side to be able to reinforce. Up north, we see a push by Rounce, right on top of all the infantry. We have the half-track here getting taken out by a Panzer Shrek and the MG42. The MG42 did have its incendiary round, so it did a lot of damage to that half-track and took it down quite fast after that Faust hit. T-34, though, harassing the infantry, and again forcing a full retreat by Rounce. So the north, again, is gonna stand. Center left, I guess you could say, we see some infantry pushing to the left-hand side by maxxhp. He is getting met with a lot of resistance, especially shock troops and a lot of AT guns. Look at those AT guns getting set up. AT guns not against, you know, not anti-infantry, but the sustained fire of them can actually start doing a lot of damage quite quickly. Shock troops are taking quite a beating to those Panzer Grenadiers. They might be wanting to throw a nade. Very nice mortar shot lands right there by that 1mm mortar and clears out the entire Panzer Grenadier squad. Nice artillery call in there by the German forces. Lands right in the middle of both AT guns. It doesn't actually end up clearing them out. Does do a lot of damage, but yeah, they're fine. Panther trying to push, no, Tiger trying to push over on the left-hand side, and this is for Funky Ducky. Does end up clearing out one T-34, but the Su-85 is across the river, taking some shots. 18-8 being tossed by these conscripts. Doesn't actually manage to get the crit. Vet 3 conscript is going to be taken out by the Tiger or the Panther 4, unfortunately. And down goes Vet 3 for PGMoney. Tiger and Panzer 4 pushing over to the left-hand side. We still have those AT guns there behind for support. So it can't go directly against it, and it is going to go directly against it, which is a big mistake here. It's going to take a shot by that AT gun. Look at that damage go down on the Panzer IV. The Panzer IV is going to get cleared off quite easily. It does manage to get, well, actually manages to clear off that AT gun, and the Su-85 does turn its turret, or its body, and gets shot on the side armor by the Tiger, and unfortunately that Tiger goes down. AT gun is going to get turned around, probably trying to take some shots at that Tiger. Second Su-85 coming up for a nice little flank there. Going to take some shots at the Tiger. The Tiger is going to take a side shot, rear shot also by the AT gun. Is going to do a lot of damage to it, and the Tiger is probably going to be going down. Panzer IV might be able to take out the Su-85 though in time. However, out goes the Tiger. Su-85 now pretty much with a destroyed gun. We see a call in right on top of the AT gun. The AT gun does lose one more man, moves out of the way, and is going to set up to try to shoot that Panzer IV. Can it actually get the kill? Nice damage goes in, very low health, sliver of health. Shock troops with the Panzer Shrek are pushing forward, trying to actually get the kill. They don't want to leave that Panzer IV alive. They need to keep pushing forward, keep on pushing forward. Panzer IV is down to the AT gun, however, so very nice victory there on the left-hand side for Derpmaster. Center point, we have some Grenadiers trying to capture territory, but they're not capturing the victory points. We are now down to 170 for the victory points for the Germans, so the Soviet forces have managed to do a very nice comeback here. We have a massive conglomerate here of German forces on the north. They're trying to push forward. We see Panzer IVs and Panthers. Another Panzer IV here fighting against, well, pretty much just small infantry. They are not pushing forward. They have actually broken through to the north, essentially. They've broken the back of all the enemies there. They actually managed to decrew the AT gun. And there's only a T-34 to hold the line, which is currently exposing its rear armor for some reason. And the infantry is now finally crossing the river to try to get an advantage. T-70 in the center manages to stop decap of that victory point and could actually capture a point itself if it activates its ability. We see more forces trickling out of the Soviet bases onto the left-hand side trying to defend. And we see a couple of infantry for both maxxhp and Funky Ducky going over to the left, but not actually crossing the river just yet. Northern side, we see the T-34 taking a lot of damage to that Panzer IV. The Panzer IV, though, is exposing its rear armor. It actually goes down to the T-34. The T-34, though, does get a damaged engine by the last shot. He's going to try to get out, but Fausts are probably going to go off. A lot of damage being dealt. If this moves into position and gets another Faust off, it'll probably clear it out. The MG42 does get cleared off by the T-34 very nicely. Panzer Fausts are not going off by this other squad. It's still trying to cap. Conscripts at Vet 3 move up to that Vet 2 Grenadier squad. Probably going to throw a Molotov on top of it, one would assume. And the T-34 is still there for support. T-34 still backing off, trying to not be in range of those Fausts. The victory point does get decapped, but it gets stopped on the cap by the Guards Rifle. The Guards Rifle are potentially going to throw a nade on these Grenadiers. No? Maybe? T-34 moves up a little bit again to be able to shoot at those Grenadiers. It's going to be risking, actually it's going to shoot at the MG42. So it's going to risk another Faust, which is probably going to get in the face, and there comes the Faust. T-34 is going to go down, and down goes the T-34. Not sure I agree with that choice, but I guess he is a little bit desperate to try to keep those victory points. So Grenadiers are forced off of the point, so the Soviet forces will be able to recap it again. Molotov landing right on top of that MG42 is going to clear it off if it doesn't retreat. The Grenadiers also decide to jump into the fire. They were a little bit cold because of the blizzard, and down to one man manages to get out of the fire and hits a retreat. The MG42 sets up at one man back here. We see a mobilization on the, oh, it's the T-34, sorry. So the T-34 rams that Panzer IV. The Panzer IV does lose its gun, and the T-70 is moving up, taking some shots at that machine gun. The machine gun, however, is not falling to the T-70. Quite an inaccurate T-70 right there. Very lucky machine gun. And the conscripts are just simply shooting a Molotov where the MG42 was, but a little bit too late. The T-70 is actually going to go and try to kill off that Panzer IV, maybe get some shots on the rear armor. So could potentially do that. We have no real follow-up. There is a Pioneer squad back here with one man left, but it isn't going to be able to do much. Center point, we see a massive engagement. We have Panthers and Panzer Grens trying to capture this victory point. There is only a 120mm mortar in the middle of the ice, which is going to have to get retreated. So the German forces should be able to capture the center, at least temporarily. And we are now down to 38 points for the German forces, with 8 left for the Soviets. Still, they have managed to hold on with that little amount of points. T-70 still pelting away at this Panzer IV, and it actually manages to take it out. Very nice T-70 right there. Has paid for itself way too much already. We do see a Tiger moving up to the right-hand side. They're trying to break that right-hand side hold. We see the German forces actually recapturing that center victory point, so they're going to slow down. The ticket is currently 8-25. 8-25. Can the Soviet forces hold on to dear life? We have the Tiger pushing over to the north. The T-70 is not going to be able to do anything against that Tiger. It does get buttoned down by the Guards Rifle. The Guards Rifles don't manage to get a long button because they were too far off in range. The T-70 is still getting shot by that Tiger. Gets its main gun destroyed. It's trying to run away, but I think it's going to be dead. It actually manages to dodge that last shot. Can it stay there and get out alive? It does get out alive. The T-34 is going to be the new target of the Tiger. The Tiger is going to do some quick work on it and should go down. Second T-34 coming onto the field. It looks like it's going for a ram on the Tiger, but it overheats its engine because it activated the ram a little bit too far away, which is one thing that I'm not entirely sure why it exists. I understand that they, reduce the amount of time it takes to get to the engine critical, but I don't get the point of burning out the engine before you can even reach a static target, but whatever. Anyways, massive infantry push over on the right-hand side. The P-34s are not able to do a lot against the Tiger. They are going to be able to capture the point, but the center victory point is now in possession of the Soviet forces. P-34 is going to go down, but I think they might actually be able to do it. They are now finally ahead of victory points. We see 8-5. Can they pull it off? The Tiger has managed to break on the north and has, allowed them to capture this point. It is now currently going apparently for the center. We have another Tiger in the center, which, oh my god, I don't know who called that in, but that wiped out everything in the center. Victory point did get decapped, so it's currently even 8-2. 8-2, guys. Tiger is pushing against the Su-85. Tiger pops some smoke after taking a lot of damage. We have Shreks and a second Su-85, but that is it. With both victory points decapped, we see here that the let me move over here. Oh no, I can't move. Well, we'll activate this, whatever. This victory point got decapped by the Soviet forces, so it started ticking at one point. Wow, that was a fantastic game. Thanks so much for PGMoney for suggesting this, and wow, holding on at 8 points the entire game. That was quite impressive. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any, well, as far as the positive or negative remarks, let me know what you think about this. I mean, it shows you the minimap so you can at least have a quick idea of what's going on. You have the victory points, but you can still see more of the action. I don't know. I think it's good, but if you guys don't like it, let me know. Again, thanks so much for watching. I will put the email in the description below so you can send any replays you want there. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.